Welcome back everyone. So as of right now, there are tons of MacBooks that Apple actually has pretty much been selling for a couple of years now. We have the Airs, the Pros, we have iMacs, Mac Minis, but in my opinion, the best MacBook in terms of productivity standpoint, meaning just getting things done, just kind of moving on with your life and just really just being a productive human, whatever that means, really comes down to the two extremes, which is kind of funny to me. It's either the MacBook Air or the 16-inch MacBook Pro, the M1 model that Apple just pushed out. So why do I think these are the best MacBooks for productivity? Well, it's mostly because they cover two different segments that I truly care about. One is portability, and the other one is extreme power. So with the M1 MacBook Air, if you're somebody who wants to be able to just be extremely portable in terms of bringing your computer with you to as many places as possible, maybe you want to bring it with you in the car, to the airport, to the airplane, whatever the case is, if you're traveling, because the MacBook Air is so small, you can actually just bring it with you pretty much wherever and not feel like you're carrying a massive big, machine with you. You're getting extremely good performance on something like M1 MacBook Air, but on top of that, the build quality is still extremely good. You still have great battery life. And overall with that M1 chip, you can't really go wrong with it. It is really one of my favorite things about the M1 MacBook Air because it's such an extremely powerful machine in such a small body. So in my standpoint, I think one of the best MacBooks from a productivity standpoint has to be the M1 MacBook Air. But on top of that, on the complete flip side, if you're somebody who wants to get the best, power out of any machine possible, that's when I kind of think the M1 MacBook Pro, the 13-inch model, so the M1 Pro and M1 Max models, are probably the better ones there. So with that 16-inch one, it is much bigger and much thicker than the M1 MacBook Air, but you are getting some really cool features from something like that MacBook. First of all, you're getting way more ports. You're getting an SD card slot, HDMI port, and an additional USB Type-C port on the right side compared to the MacBook Air, but you're also getting MagSafe capability. And this is something that's really important to me. When you have a MacBook like this, you can really utilize as many things as possible from this MacBook, and you have a ton of capability. So that in and of itself is really awesome. But on top of that, with something like the M1 MacBook Pro, the 16-inch one, you actually do get much better performance from this thing too. So if you're somebody who's, you're trying to bust out as many papers as possible, or you're a programmer, or you're a video editor, or whatever the case is, getting a MacBook like the 16-inch M1 MacBook Pro, you are going to be setting yourself up so well for the future. In reality, you can pick up this thing and pretty much be set for a long period of time. And if you're somebody, like I mentioned, whose main focus is productivity, you might not even mind having a bigger MacBook if it means you can get way better performance and you can go ahead and utilize those extra ports on your MacBook as well. So in my standpoint, I would highly recommend picking up either an M1 MacBook Air or an M1 MacBook Pro, the 16-inch model, if your focus is productivity. Now obviously, if you want to pick up the middle ones, go for the 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro and the 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro. But in my opinion, from a productivity standpoint, I think the Air and the 16-inch ones are probably the best bet in my opinion. So in terms of that covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.